Welcome. It is January 27th, and we are here to talk about the 5 skills that every speaker must master in order to get paid gigs. 5 of them. All right, the first skill that every speaker must master in order to get paid gigs is speaking. Surprise, surprise. You've got to be a good speaker if you're going to get speaking gigs. Now, you can be a bad speaker and you can get a speaking gig, but we're talking about getting speaking gigs, plural, right? Getting paid over and over and over again to speak over and over and over again. Paid gigs only come consistently when you are a good speaker. So the skill of speaking itself is definitely a skill to master, because guess what? They are paying you not only to deliver your message, but also to engage their audience. Why wouldn't they just find a book on your topic, maybe your book, and give it to everyone and say, read this, and then you'll know, right? That's not engaging. That's not an experience. That doesn't solve their event problems as well. Now, you don't have to be a great speaker right out of the gate, okay? Get good, get gigs, then get great. You will not become great unless you're doing gigs, right? So you got to get out there and do gigs. But first, you've got to get pretty, just at least decent. And I'm not talking about speaking skill necessarily in the old way of thinking, counting ums and ahs at Toastmasters, right? That speaking skill is outdated, and we have a new audience who demands, I don't want to say you got to get up there and do TikTok dances. That is not at all what I'm saying, but we've got to master the art of being an engaging speaker. All right, so that is skill number 1. Now, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel, right? If you're on Facebook watching this, head over to the YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to make sure you get notified, because we do this every single day where we talk shop, speaking, business tips, and there are no more important tips. And then the skills we must master, right? Not the activities that we do, but the skills we master in order to become successful. And I got to say, every 6 and 7-figure speaker who does this, that I know, right? Every 6 and 7-figure speaker that I know does all 5 of these. I'm double checking to make sure, but myself included, these are the skills to master. Number 2, packaging. Not only do you have to be able to deliver an engaging speech, but you have to be able to speak about what you speak about. You've got to be able to not describe what you do and how you do it, but package what you do and how you do it. To answer questions like, so what? Why should I care? Why should I hire you? What does your message have to do with my problems? That is called the art of packaging. I sometimes refer to it as the art of bookability, because if you're not packaged well, you're not bookable, right? If you're not on the shelf and packaged, they just can't buy you. It's just a fact of the matter. So if skill number 1 is the skill of speaking, getting good, then gigs, then great. Skill number 2 is the art of packaging. And I might even say, for many people, in order to get gigs, you've got to be packaged. So many of my clients do that first, and then they find gigs that they can do where they're going to kind of fumble and stumble their way through, and it's okay. Joan Rivers said, you've got to find a place where you can be bad for a while. And I think that is true for speakers as well. So let's kind of call those 1 and 1A, right? Packaging, speaking, tweaking, making it better, making improvements, doing the gigs, on your way to great. But there is no question about it. If you want to be paid and you want to be highly paid, packaging is the skill that you need. Next, number 3, you need to have the skill of being found. You've got to appear in places where the ideal client is going. So if that means you've got to be Googleable, then you've got to be Googleable. You've got to get the skill set of learning how to be found. You've got to find the way to sniff out opportunities and put yourself in front of opportunities, right? If you're thirsty, you go to the river where the water is. You don't try to build a river right? You don't try to create your own stream of clients. You find out where they already are going, and then you put yourself in front of them. And we call this in our Get Speaking Gigs world, you be a peer and not a pest. You're not chasing them down. You're not going out and cold emailing. Listen, when you're starting out, cold emailing is such a waste of time. I've said this so many times on this channel. Cold email is a waste of time. It is such a low return on your time. And what more important resource is there than time? So be found. Very often what we do to be found is we speak, and people in our audience find us. They see us speak, right? So not only are we working on our craft when we're going to those places we can be bad for a while, but we are going to a place where we can be seen and we can be found and we can be referred, and we can engineer those opportunities so that we are in the right place at the right time. And all of my clients express this idea of their business grows via serendipity, right? It's engineered serendipity. Of course, there's going to be serendipity. We plan for it. All right, number 4. If speaking is number 1 and packaging is number 2 or 1A, and being found is number 3, then the skill number 4 is finding. Now, a speaker without proactive marketing systems, right, is not very busy. A speaker without proactive marketing systems is not a busy speaker. You see, we have 3 stages with the Get Speaking Gigs world. Stage 1 is 0 to 10K in 90 days. That's where we take you. Stage 1, we get you up and running. We get you packaged. We make it so that you can be found. We get you start doing some gigs. We get you paid, right? That way you can work on the craft even more. But yes, we do work on the speech with you as well. Stage 2 is where we begin to get consistent and we begin to incorporate the skill of finding. Now, does this mean, again, going and banging on doors? No, no, no. It's about finding opportunities and raising your hand and saying, hey, guess what I do? That's exactly what I do. You need that? I need that. That's exactly what I do, rather. Hi, Evie. Good to see you. Good morning as well. And glad you made it. Again, if you get subscribed and hit that little bell button, you can jump in the chat and I will interact, of course, right? This is real and this is live. So that's 4 out of the 5. Now, when we get to stage 3, right? If stage 1 is 0 to 10K, if stage 2 is building a 6-figure speaking business, regular, consistently booked speaking business, then stage 3 is where we really start to scale and ramp up. It's where we stop going and finding, leads even, right? We're being found, and even when we stop finding, it's when we begin to go a little deeper and we begin to work with clients on a whole different level. So I call this stage the stage of serving and solving. Serving and solving. So what else can you do besides standing on a stage and speak? Can you write books? Can you create content that you can then turn and sell? Now, creating content for the internet is part of being found. Okay, so very often we package our ideas, we create little videos, and we put out content, and that's another way we can be found. So it's not just about speaking to live audiences in the room. People cringe when they hear the idea of speaking for free. Rather, we can speak to our social media following as well, and that is one way to be found. But I'm going backwards. It's time to go forward, right? Stage 3, again, this is where you do things like publishing books. This is where you create that kind of content that is positioning content, right? You wouldn't believe what happened when Penguin Random House put their stamp of approval on my book and therefore on me. The doors that opened, it's wild, right? So stage 3 is really about scaling to that 7-figure level and being a thought leader in your space. And a big way to do that is step 5, skill 5, I should say, the skill of serving and selling. All of the 6- and 7-figure speakers that I know have more to offer their clients other than just the speech. You all know I'm on a mission. I'm on a goal to earn $500,000 in 5 months in order to buy my house for my kids because of my divorce. Now, would I be able to do that? Just do the numbers. Even though I'm getting $15,000, $20,000 a speaking gig, run the numbers. How many speaking gigs would I have to book between now and then. This is a simple mathematical equation. I even have a calculator in my hand. $500,000. Let's say I get $20,000 a gig. That is 5 speaking gigs a month between now, even more than that, right? So is that practical? Is that realistic? Maybe, maybe not. Now, it's okay when a client comes to me like they did yesterday and they said, Tim, we don't have really any more than $5,000. Like, we're a small association. We've got 4 employees. We got a board. We don't have a lot of funds to deal with. And oh, by the way, we're in Canada, so the dollar amount might even be less because you're in the United States. So the conversion rate, right? We don't have the budget. So how am I able to send them a proposal that potentially could be worth 6 figures in my pocket? How am I able to do that? Because of serving and solving. Yeah, the event is a piece of the puzzle. That opens the door. I put my speech in the front of my store window. I dress up the mannequin real nice with my packaged bookable speech. And people walk by and they say, that's a message. Oh, baby, that is a message that we need in our organization. They open the door and they walk in, and suddenly I'm having a conversation. Oh, how do you like that? Maybe we can get you fitted for that. We'll see if the event is a fit, date, time, all of the factors. And then let's go in the back room here, because behind the counter, I have this suite of offers that I do to help and to serve and to solve the problem that brought you in this store in the first place. So the serving and the solving is what is on your shelves. What is on your menu? If somebody came in and said, money is no object, we have a very expensive problem that we need solved, and we think you can solve it. Yeah, you can get on a stage and you can talk about it, but what if we were to roll up our sleeves and said, hey, let's get this distributed to our entire organization. Let's get the leaders on board. Can you do leadership development training? Let's get the frontline employees on board. Can you maybe create part of an onboarding process for us? What are the things that you can offer besides just the speech? And maybe it is another speech. Maybe it is a workshop or a training. Maybe it is executive coaching. The bottom line is, once you identify your message, and once you have packaged your message, packaging a message reveals the problems that it solves. And those problems, if they're expensive, if they're pervasive, if they're urgent, if they're pressing, if they keep companies up at night, and you have some secret sauce, why not add to your menu of offerings so that you can serve and solve in a deeper way? So I'll tell you this, the most successful clients that I have don't have hundreds and hundreds of speaker clients, right? They do in the past, some of them, but they're focused. And some of those companies just come along and scoop them up and say, you know what, you're going to stay with us and you're going to help us and you're going to work with us and we're going to compensate you. So not to say that they get scooped up as employees. They're still certainly taking on like a consultant's role. And that's it. You only need 5 or 10 really good clients, right? Some people only have one client. I mean, think about it. If you have a job and you're working for a client, you're getting paid all that money just from one client, right? Your employer. If you're adding value to an organization, they're willing to pay. I promise you, this is the way to scale a speaking business, not more speeches, right? Although that is part of it, right? Because part of these initiatives, hey, we got to get the frontline employees on board. We got to do an all hands, our annual meeting. Why not launch this initiative with a keynote? So that is the 5 skills that every speaker must master in order to get paid gigs. If you're working on your bookability, let's say you're a good speaker and you're working on your bookability, check out the Bookability Toolbox. That is your signature speech, the way to develop and plan and deliver your reputation making speech. But ultimately, that is where I teach my packaging process. You are welcome, Evie. We will absolutely celebrate together when we hit this $500,000 milestone. Notice all the whens and not the ifs. So if that is you and you want to go ahead and jump on board and package your message, then that is in the description below under Medium. your signature speech. All right, that is it for today. We'll speak soon, probably even tomorrow.